What does it mean to live a life of purpose? It's a question that has echoed through the ages, from ancient philosophers to modern thinkers, and yet it remains as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most revered Stoic leaders, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words remind us that true purpose isn't found in the chaos of the external world, but in the quiet alignment of our actions with our deepest values. In this video, we'll explore 25 timeless Stoic principles designed to help you cultivate a life of meaning and intention. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're practical tools, forged in the fires of ancient wisdom that you can apply to the challenges and opportunities of modern life. Whether you're navigating career decisions, relationships, or simply the daily grind, these principles will guide you toward clarity, resilience, and fulfillment. So, if you've ever felt adrift, unsure of your direction, or overwhelmed by the noise of the world, this is for you. Together, we'll uncover how Stoicism can help you not only find your purpose but live it. Let's begin. The first step to a purposeful life is understanding where your power lies. This is the essence of the first Stoic principle: focus on what you can control. The ancient Stoics, like Epictetus, drew a clear line between what's within our power, our thoughts, choices, and actions, and what's beyond it, external events, other people's opinions, and even the outcomes of our efforts. As Epictetus famously said, some things are within our power while others are not. This simple yet profound distinction is the foundation of Stoic resilience. When we zero in on what we can control, we free ourselves from the weight of trying to manage the uncontrollable. Think about it. How much energy do we waste worrying about things we can't change? The weather, traffic, or even a colleague's attitude. These are all external factors that lie outside our sphere of influence. But our response to them, that's entirely up to us. By redirecting our focus inward, we not only reduce anxiety but also cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're facing a stressful situation at work, maybe a tight deadline or a difficult conversation with a coworker. The deadline itself or the other person's behavior might be out of your hands, but how you prepare, how you communicate, and how you manage your own stress, those are all within your control. By shifting your energy to what you can do rather than fixating on what you can't, you transform overwhelm into opportunity. Now take a moment to reflect. What's one area of your life where you've been focusing on the uncontrollable? Could it be a relationship, a career goal, or even your daily routine? Identify where you might be pouring energy into things beyond your power, and consider how you can redirect that focus to what you can control. This small shift can be the start of a more purposeful, resilient way of living. What would you do differently if you knew your time was limited? It's a question that cuts through the noise of everyday life and forces us to confront what truly matters. This is the heart of the second Stoic principle, Memento Mori, remember that you will die. Far from being morbid, this practice is a powerful tool for clarity and focus. The Stoics believed that reflecting on our mortality isn't about dwelling on death, but about embracing life with intention. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Memento Mori is a lens that sharpens your vision, helping you see past trivial distractions and align your actions with what's most important. Think about how often we waste energy on things that, in the grand scheme, don't matter. Dead-end arguments, fleeting trends, or the endless pursuit of approval. When we remember that our time is finite, we're less likely to squander it on what doesn't serve our deeper purpose. History offers a striking example of how this principle was put into practice. The ancient Stoics, like Seneca, would often remind themselves of their mortality to stay grounded. Seneca wrote, "Each day as it comes should be welcomed and reduced forthwith into our own possession as if it were the finest day imaginable." For him, acknowledging the inevitability of death wasn't a source of fear but a motivator to live fully and authentically. So, how can you apply this principle today? Start by asking yourself, if today were your last, would you be proud of how you've spent your time? What would you change? Take a moment to write down your top 3 priorities for the next year. These could be personal, professional, or even spiritual goals, whatever resonates most deeply with you. By keeping these priorities at the forefront of your mind, you'll find it easier to cut through the clutter and focus on what truly matters. Memento Mori isn't just a reminder of death, it's a call to live with purpose. It's about making every moment count, not out of fear, but out of a deep appreciation for the gift of life. What will you choose to prioritize when you remember how precious your time is? A life of purpose is built on virtue, not success or wealth. This bold statement lies at the core of the third Stoic principle: cultivate virtue above all. For the Stoics, virtue wasn't just a lofty ideal, it was the very foundation of a meaningful life. They believed that wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance were the only true goods, the qualities that define our character and guide our actions. As Seneca once wrote, virtue is nothing else than right reason. In other words, living virtuously means aligning your choices with what is good, true, and just, regardless of external rewards or recognition. The Stoics saw virtue as the ultimate measure of a person's worth. While wealth, fame, and power might come and go, virtue remains steadfast. It's the compass that keeps us grounded, even in the face of life's uncertainties. Think about it. When you look back on your life, what will matter more? The size of your bank account or the integrity of your choices? The Stoics would argue that it's the latter. Virtue isn't just about doing the right thing when it's easy. It's about standing firm in your principles even when it's hard. Let's bring this idea into the modern world. Imagine you're at work and you've made a mistake that could cost your team. The easy path might be to shift the blame or downplay the error, but the virtuous path, the Stoic path, is to take responsibility. Acknowledging your mistake, learning from it, and working to make things right demonstrates honesty and courage, 2 pillars of virtue. It's not about being perfect, it's about striving to be better even when it's uncomfortable. Now consider a recent decision you've made. Did it align with virtue? Was it guided by wisdom, courage, justice, or temperance? Reflecting on this can help you identify areas where you're already living in alignment with Stoic principles and areas where you might want to grow. Virtue isn't a destination, it's a daily practice, a series of choices that shape who you are and the life you create. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, what does it mean to live virtuously in your own life? How can you embody wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance in your relationships, your work, and your personal growth? By making virtue your guiding star, you'll not only find purpose, you'll become the kind of person who inspires it in others. What if every obstacle was an opportunity in disguise? What if the very things that frustrate, challenge, or even break us could become the foundation for our greatest growth? This is the essence of the fourth Stoic principle, Amor Fati, love your fate. The phrase, often associated with Nietzsche's interpretation of Stoicism, captures a radical idea. Instead of resisting or resenting the twists and turns of life, we embrace them wholeheartedly. As Nietzsche put it, my formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati. That one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. At its core, Amor Fati is about acceptance, not passive resignation, but active engagement with whatever life throws your way. The Stoics believed that everything that happens to us, whether good or bad, serves a purpose in the larger tapestry of our lives. Even setbacks, failures, and hardships are opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius put it this way: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the challenges we face don't block our path, they are the path. Let's bring this idea to life with a story. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, famously faced thousands of failures before achieving success. When asked about his repeated setbacks, he didn't see them as failures at all. Instead, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His ability to reframe adversity as a learning process is a perfect example of Amor Fati in action. He didn't just tolerate failure, he embraced it as a necessary step toward innovation. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by identifying one challenge you're currently facing, maybe a setback at work, a personal struggle, or even a source of daily frustration. Instead of viewing it as an obstacle, ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can this help me grow? What opportunity might be hidden within this difficulty? By shifting your perspective, you transform what feels like a burden into a gift, a chance to build resilience, creativity, or even a new direction. Amor Fati isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding meaning in the imperfect, the messy, and the difficult. It's about trusting that even the hardest moments have a role to play in your journey. So the next time life throws you a curveball, try to see it not as a setback but as a stepping stone. What might you gain by loving your fate just as it is? To live with purpose, we must first understand our nature. This is the heart of the fifth Stoic principle: live in accordance with nature. At its core, this idea invites us to align our actions with the natural order of the world and, more importantly, with our true selves. The Stoics believed that every person has an innate purpose, a unique role to play in the grand scheme of life, and that living authentically means embracing this role fully. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, taught that true happiness comes from living in harmony with nature, both the world around us and the essence of who we are. But what does it mean to live in accordance with nature? For the Stoics, it wasn't about retreating to the wilderness or rejecting modern life. Instead, it was about recognizing the natural rhythms of existence and aligning our choices with them. This means accepting what we cannot change, honoring our responsibilities, and striving to live virtuously. It's about stripping away the distractions and complexities that pull us away from our core values, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. Consider the modern push for simplicity and minimalism. Many people today are choosing to declutter their lives, shedding excess possessions and commitments to create space for what's essential. This movement mirrors the Stoic call to live in accordance with nature, to identify and prioritize what aligns with our deepest values, rather than chasing societal expectations or fleeting pleasures. By simplifying, we not only reduce stress but also create room for growth, connection, and fulfillment. Zeno's teachings remind us that living in harmony with nature isn't just a philosophical ideal, it's a practical guide for everyday life. He believed that when we live authentically, we find peace and purpose because we're no longer at odds with ourselves or the world. This principle challenges us to ask, does my current lifestyle reflect my true nature? Am I living in a way that honors my values, or am I caught up in the noise of external pressures? Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Are there areas where you feel out of sync with your true self? Perhaps it's a job that drains your energy, a habit that doesn't serve you, or a relationship that feels forced. How might simplifying or realigning your choices bring you closer to living in accordance with your nature? By embracing this principle, you'll not only find greater clarity and peace, but also step into the purpose that's uniquely yours. what would you miss most if it were gone tomorrow? It's a jarring question, but one that holds immense power. This is the heart of the sixth Stoic principle of practice: negative visualization. The idea is simple yet profound. By imagining the loss of what we value most, we not only prepare ourselves for adversity, but also cultivate a deeper sense of gratitude for what we have. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, often wrote about this practice in his letters, urging his readers to confront potential losses head-on. He believed that by mentally preparing for the worst, we could face life's uncertainties with calm and clarity. Negative visualization isn't about dwelling on fear or pessimism. Instead, it's a tool for building resilience and perspective. When we take the time to imagine losing something, whether it's a loved one, a career, or even our health, we're forced to confront how much we value it. This exercise shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already possess, helping us recognize the abundance in our lives. As Seneca put it, he who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing. In other words, by visualizing loss, we learn to appreciate the present moment and the gifts it holds. History offers a striking example of this principle in action. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, despite his immense power and wealth, regularly practiced negative visualization. He would remind himself that his position, his possessions, and even his loved ones were impermanent. This wasn't to make him cynical or detached, but to deepen his gratitude and commitment to living a virtuous life. By acknowledging the fragility of life, he was able to lead with humility and purpose, even in the face of immense responsibility. So, how can you apply this principle today? Start by setting aside 5 minutes to reflect on what you value most: your relationships, your health, your career, or even your sense of freedom. Imagine what it would feel like to lose one of these things. Notice the emotions that arise and let them remind you of how fortunate you are to have them now. This practice isn't about inviting fear. It's about fostering appreciation and resilience. By regularly engaging in negative visualization, you'll not only prepare yourself for life's inevitable challenges, but also find greater joy in the present. It's a reminder to cherish what you have while you have it, and to live with a heart full of gratitude. What would you miss most if it were gone? Take a moment to reflect, and let that reflection guide you toward a more purposeful, appreciative life. True freedom comes from self-control, not indulgence. This might sound counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't freedom about doing what we want when we want? The Stoics, however, saw it differently. They believed that real freedom isn't found in giving in to every impulse or desire, but in mastering them. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, put it succinctly: "No man is free who is not master of himself." In other words, discipline isn't a restriction, it's the key to unlocking a life of purpose and autonomy. At its core, self-discipline is about aligning your actions with your long-term goals, even when short-term temptations pull you in another direction. It's choosing the harder but more meaningful path over the easier, more immediate one. Think about it. How often do we sabotage our own progress by giving in to distractions, procrastination, or unhealthy habits? The Stoics argued that every time we surrender to these impulses, we surrender a piece of our freedom. But when we exercise self-discipline, we reclaim that freedom, one choice at a time. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're working on a project that could significantly advance your career or personal growth. But instead of focusing, you find yourself scrolling through social media, checking your phone every few minutes, or getting lost in trivial tasks. In that moment, the temptation to indulge in distraction feels powerful, but so does the opportunity to choose discipline. By resisting the urge to procrastinate and committing to focused effort, you not only move closer to your goal, but also strengthen your ability to act with intention. Epictetus taught that self-mastery begins with small, consistent choices. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do, he said. This means starting with a clear vision of who you want to become, whether it's a more present parent, a more effective professional, or a healthier version of yourself, and then taking the disciplined steps to make that vision a reality. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one habit or area of your life where you could use more discipline? Maybe it's carving out time for exercise, limiting screen time, or dedicating yourself to a creative project. Whatever it is, identify one small, actionable step you can take today to strengthen your self-discipline. Remember, every act of discipline is a step toward greater freedom and a more purposeful life. By developing self-discipline, you're not just building better habits, you're reclaiming your power to shape your future. It's a practice that transforms not only what you do, but who you become. When was the last time you truly reflected on your life? Not just a passing thought, but a deep, intentional pause to consider where you've been, where you are, and where you're headed. This is the essence of the 8th Stoic principle: seek wisdom through reflection. The Stoics believed that self-examination wasn't just a luxury, it was a necessity for living with purpose and clarity. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most reflective leaders, spent years writing his Meditations, a personal journal filled with insights, reminders, and questions to guide his own growth. He understood that reflection is the bridge between experience and wisdom, helping us learn from the past and align our actions with our deepest values. Reflection isn't about dwelling on mistakes or regrets. It's about creating space to process our experiences, identify patterns, and make intentional choices moving forward. Think of it as a mental reset, a chance to step back from the noise of daily life and reconnect with what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius often asked himself questions like, what kind of person do I want to be? And am I living in alignment with my principles? These simple yet profound inquiries can help us stay grounded, even in the midst of chaos. One of the most accessible ways to practice reflection is through journaling. Just as Marcus Aurelius used his meditations to explore his thoughts, you can use a journal to capture your own insights, challenges, and aspirations. Start by setting aside 10 minutes at the end of each day to write about what went well, what didn't, and what you learned. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, habits that serve you, beliefs that hold you back, and opportunities for growth. Journaling isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's a tool for turning the chaos of life into clarity. But reflection doesn't have to be limited to writing. You can also reflect through meditation, long walks, or even quiet conversations with a trusted friend. The key is to create a regular practice that allows you to step out of autopilot mode and into a space of intentionality. As Seneca wisely noted, the unexamined life is not worth living. By taking the time to reflect, you're not just living, you're living with purpose. Now consider this: when was the last time you paused to reflect on your own life? What might you discover if you set aside time each week for introspection? Whether it's through journaling, meditation, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts, reflection can help you uncover the wisdom hidden within your experiences. It's a practice that transforms not only how you see the past, but how you shape the future. So take a moment to reflect on where you've been, where you are, and where you're headed. The answers might just surprise you. The only constant in life is change. It's a truth that can feel unsettling, even frightening, but it's also one of the most liberating realizations we can embrace. This is the heart of the 9th Stoic principle: accept impermanence. The Stoics understood that clinging to what is fleeting, whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a moment of happiness, only leads to suffering. By recognizing the transient nature of all things, we can learn to let go of attachments and live more fully in the present. As Heraclitus, the ancient philosopher whose ideas deeply influenced Stoicism, famously said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice," reminding us that life is a constant flow, always changing, always moving forward. Accepting impermanence isn't about resigning ourselves to loss or giving up on what matters. It's about cultivating a mindset of adaptability and resilience. When we understand that everything we have, our relationships, our possessions, even our own identities, is temporary, we're less likely to take them for granted. Instead of holding on too tightly, we learn to appreciate what we have while we have it, knowing that its presence is a gift, not a guarantee. This shift in perspective can transform how we approach life, turning moments of uncertainty into opportunities for growth and connection. Consider the story of a musician who lost the ability to play their instrument due to an injury. At first, the loss felt devastating, as if a core part of their identity had been stripped away. But over time, they began to explore new ways to express their creativity through teaching, composing, and even painting. By embracing the impermanence of their former life, they discovered new passions and opportunities they might never have pursued otherwise. This is the power of accepting change. It doesn't just help us survive life's upheavals, it helps us thrive within them. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by reflecting on the areas where you might be resisting change. Are you holding on to a situation, a belief, or even a version of yourself that no longer serves you? Ask yourself, what would it feel like to let go, even just a little? How might embracing impermanence open you up to new possibilities? Remember, change isn't the enemy, it's the very fabric of life. By learning to flow with it rather than against it, you'll find a deeper sense of peace and presence. Accepting impermanence isn't easy, but it's one of the most profound ways to live with purpose. It's a reminder to savor the beauty of the present moment, knowing that it's fleeting. It's an invitation to adapt, grow, and find meaning in the ever-changing river of life. How will you choose to flow with it? What are you truly grateful for today? It's a simple question, but one that can transform the way you see the world. This is the essence of the 10th Stoic principle: practice gratitude daily. Gratitude isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a powerful mindset shift that redirects our focus from what we lack to what we already have. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, often emphasized the importance of thankfulness. He wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In other words, true abundance isn't about possessions or status. It's about recognizing the value in what's already around us. Gratitude has a profound impact on our well-being. Research shows that regularly practicing gratitude can improve mental health, reduce stress, and even strengthen relationships. But beyond the science, gratitude is a tool for perspective. When we take the time to appreciate the small joys, a kind word, a beautiful sunset, or even the comfort of a warm meal, we begin to see life not as a series of problems to solve, but as a collection of gifts to cherish. The Stoics believed that this shift in focus was essential for living a fulfilling life, as it helps us stay grounded in the present and connected to what truly matters. One of the most effective ways to cultivate gratitude is through journaling. Keeping a gratitude journal where you write down a few things you're thankful for each day is a simple yet transformative practice. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just a few sentences can make a difference. Over time, this habit trains your mind to seek out the good, even in challenging circumstances. It's not about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding balance by acknowledging the positives alongside the negatives. Seneca's writings remind us that gratitude isn't just a reaction to good fortune, it's a choice we can make, even in the face of adversity. He wrote, "A great man is always thankful for his troubles, for they teach him what others cannot." This perspective challenges us to find gratitude not only in the easy moments but also in the difficult ones. Every challenge, every setback carries a lesson or an opportunity for growth. By embracing this mindset, we can turn even the hardest experiences into sources of strength and wisdom. So, take a moment to reflect. What are 3 things you're grateful for right now? They could be as simple as the air you breathe, the people who support you, or the opportunities ahead. Write them down, say them aloud, or simply hold them in your heart. This small act of gratitude can shift your perspective, reminding you of the abundance that already exists in your life. By making gratitude a daily practice, you'll not only enhance your well-being but also deepen your connection to the world around you. What will you choose to be grateful for today? Integrity is doing the right thing even when it's hard. It's the quiet strength that guides us when no one is watching, the moral compass that keeps us aligned with our deepest values. For the Stoics, integrity wasn't just a virtue, it was the bedrock of a meaningful life. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, put it this way: first, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. In other words, integrity begins with knowing who you are and what you stand for, and then having the courage to act on it, no matter the cost. At its core, integrity is about consistency, aligning your actions with your principles, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or downright difficult. It's easy to do the right thing when everyone's watching, but the true test of character comes when you're alone, faced with a choice that only you will know about. That's where integrity shines. It's the quiet voice that reminds you to stay true to yourself, even when the easier path tempts you to compromise. Think about a time when you had to make a tough decision, one that tested your values. Maybe it was standing up for a coworker who was being treated unfairly, or refusing to cut corners on a project even when the deadline was looming. These moments, while challenging, are where integrity is forged. They're the opportunities to build trust, not just with others, but with yourself. Every time you choose integrity over convenience, you strengthen your self-respect and deepen your sense of purpose. Epictetus emphasized the importance of moral consistency, teaching that true freedom comes from living in harmony with your principles. He said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's a powerful reminder that living with integrity often means going against the grain. It's not about seeking approval or fitting in. It's about staying true to what you believe, even if it means standing alone. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're at work and a colleague suggests bending the rules to meet a target. You know it's wrong, but speaking up could risk your reputation or even your job. In that moment, integrity calls you to stand up for what's right, even if it's uncomfortable. It's not about being perfect, it's about being principled. By choosing integrity, you not only uphold your values but also set a standard for others to follow. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one recent decision you made, big or small, that tested your integrity? Did it align with your values? If not, what could you do differently next time? Integrity is a practice, not a destination. It's the daily choice to live in alignment with who you are and who you aspire to be. By embracing this principle, you'll not only build trust with others but also cultivate a deeper sense of self-respect and purpose. What will your next act of integrity be? Whose opinion matters most to you and why? It's a question that cuts straight to the heart of how we live our lives and who we're really living them for. This is the essence of the 12th Stoic principle: let go of external validation. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment doesn't come from the applause of others, but from living in alignment with your own values and purpose. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." It's a striking observation, one that challenges us to ask, Why do we give so much weight to what others think, often at the expense of our own happiness? Seeking external validation can feel like chasing a moving target. No matter how much praise or approval we receive, it's never enough to fill the void inside. That's because fulfillment isn't something that can be handed to us by others, it's something we cultivate within ourselves. When we tie our self-worth to the opinions of others, we give away our power, allowing their judgments to dictate our choices and ultimately our sense of purpose. The Stoics taught that real freedom comes from detaching from this need for approval and focusing instead on what matters most, our own growth, integrity, and inner peace. Consider the story of an artist who spent years creating work they hoped would impress critics and gain recognition. Despite some success, they felt increasingly empty, as if their art no longer belonged to them. It wasn't until they stopped seeking validation and began creating purely for the joy of it that they rediscovered their passion and authenticity. By letting go of others' expectations, they found a deeper sense of fulfillment, one that wasn't dependent on external praise but rooted in their own love for the craft. This is the power of releasing the need for approval. It frees us to live authentically, guided by our own values rather than the fleeting opinions of others. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by identifying one area where you've been seeking external validation. Maybe it's at work, where you've been striving for recognition instead of focusing on the integrity of your efforts. Or perhaps it's in your personal life, where you've been shaping your decisions to meet others' expectations rather than your own. Whatever it is, take a moment to reflect. What would it feel like to let go of that need for approval? How might your choices change if you prioritized your own values over others' opinions? Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. By releasing the grip of external validation, you reclaim that power, finding strength in your own sense of purpose. It's not about rejecting feedback or isolating yourself. It's about choosing whose voice matters most. When you stop living for others' approval, you begin living for yourself, and that's where true fulfillment begins. Life is a series of highs and lows. How we respond defines us. This fundamental truth lies at the heart of the 13th Stoic principle: practice equanimity. Equanimity is the art of maintaining calm and balance, no matter what life throws your way. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about cultivating a steady inner resilience that allows you to navigate challenges with clarity and grace. The Stoics believed that equanimity was essential for living a purposeful life, as it helps us stay grounded in the face of both success and adversity. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, wrote extensively about the importance of maintaining inner peace. He observed, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." In other words, our reactions to life's challenges often amplify their difficulty. When we approach problems with a calm and balanced mindset, we reduce their power over us, freeing ourselves to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Equanimity, then, isn't just a passive state, it's an active practice of self-mastery. So, how can you cultivate equanimity in your own life? One practical technique is deep breathing. When faced with stress or uncertainty, taking a few slow, intentional breaths can help you regain focus and perspective. It's a simple yet powerful way to anchor yourself in the present moment, creating a buffer between external events and your internal response. Another effective tool is mindfulness, practicing awareness of your thoughts and emotions without judgment. By observing your reactions without immediately acting on them, you create space to choose how you respond rather than being swept away by the moment. History offers a compelling example of equanimity in action. During his time as emperor, Marcus Aurelius faced countless challenges: wars, political intrigue, and personal loss. Yet through it all, he maintained a remarkable sense of balance. His meditations reveal a man deeply committed to inner peace, even amid external chaos. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This insight reminds us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can always control how we respond. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's a recent challenge you faced and how did you respond emotionally? Did you feel overwhelmed or were you able to maintain a sense of calm? By examining your reactions, you can begin to identify patterns and areas for growth. Equanimity isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each time you choose calm over chaos, you strengthen your ability to face life's uncertainties with resilience and purpose. Equanimity is a gift we give ourselves a way to navigate life's storms without losing sight of who we are. It's a practice that transforms not only how we handle challenges, but how we experience the world. By cultivating this inner balance, you'll find that life's highs and lows become not obstacles to endure, but opportunities to grow. How will you choose to respond the next time life tests your calm? What would your life look like if you removed the unnecessary? Imagine stripping away the clutter, the noise, and the distractions. What would remain? This is the heart of the 14th Stoic principle: simplify your life. The Stoics believed that purpose and joy are found not in the accumulation of things or commitments, but in the intentional removal of what doesn't serve us. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most practical teachers, put it bluntly: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. In other words, true abundance comes from knowing what's essential and letting go of the rest. Simplifying isn't just about owning fewer things, it's about creating space for what truly matters. Think of your life as a garden. If you let weeds grow unchecked, they'll choke out the flowers. But if you tend to it carefully, removing what doesn't belong, you create room for beauty and growth. The Stoics saw simplicity as a way to focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, choices, and actions, without being weighed down by external distractions. By decluttering our lives, we free up mental and emotional energy to invest in what brings us meaning. Consider the modern trend of minimalism. Many people today are choosing to live with less, fewer possessions, fewer commitments, and fewer distractions. This isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's a way to reclaim focus and intentionality. Take, for example, someone who decides to declutter their home. As they let go of items they no longer need or use, they often find that their mind feels lighter too. The physical act of simplifying creates a ripple effect, helping them feel more present and purposeful in their daily lives. It's a reminder that less can truly be more. Epictetus taught that simplicity is a path to freedom. Freedom is not procured by a full enjoyment of what is desired, but by controlling the desire, he said. This means that by reducing our wants, we reduce our dependence on external things for happiness. Simplicity isn't about deprivation, it's about clarity. It's about identifying what truly enriches your life and letting go of what doesn't. Whether it's a cluttered schedule, a crowded home, or a mind full of distractions, simplifying helps us focus on what aligns with our values and purpose. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by identifying one area where you feel overwhelmed or distracted. Maybe it's your schedule filled with commitments that drain your energy. Or perhaps it's your digital life where endless notifications pull you away from meaningful connections. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what can I remove to create more space for what matters? Even small changes like clearing a corner of your home or setting boundaries with your time can have a profound impact. Simplifying your life isn't about achieving perfection. It's about creating room for what brings you joy and purpose. By letting go of the unnecessary, you make space for the essential. What's one thing you can simplify today to bring more focus and fulfillment into your life? Every challenge is a chance to become stronger. This might sound counterintuitive, especially when life feels like an uphill battle, but it's a truth the Stoics held close to their hearts. The 15th principle of Stoicism invites us to embrace challenges as opportunities, not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones toward growth and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most resilient leaders, wrote in his Meditations, "The obstacle is the way." These 4 words capture the essence of this principle. What stands in our path doesn't block us, it becomes the path if we choose to see it that way. Reframing difficulties as opportunities isn't about ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It's about shifting our perspective to see the potential for growth in every setback. Think of it like this: a muscle doesn't grow stronger without resistance. Similarly, our character and resilience are shaped by the challenges we face. When we approach obstacles with curiosity and determination, we unlock a deeper understanding of ourselves and our capabilities. This mindset doesn't just help us survive adversity, it helps us thrive within it. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who famously failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. Instead of seeing his failures as defeats, he viewed them as steps toward success. "I have not failed," he said, "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His ability to reframe setbacks as opportunities for learning and innovation is a perfect example of this Stoic principle in action. By embracing challenges, he not only achieved a groundbreaking invention, but also demonstrated the power of resilience and persistence. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by identifying one challenge you're currently facing, whether it's a difficult project at work, a strained relationship, or a personal goal that feels out of reach. Instead of seeing it as a problem, ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can this help me grow? What strengths might I discover by facing it head-on? By shifting your perspective, you transform what feels like a burden into an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, what stands in the way becomes the way. This simple yet profound insight invites us to see challenges not as obstacles to avoid, but as opportunities to embrace. The next time you face a difficulty, try to approach it with curiosity and courage. What might you gain by viewing it as a chance to grow? Whether it's building resilience, discovering new skills, or simply learning to adapt, every challenge holds the potential to make you stronger. What's one challenge you can reframe as an opportunity today? Where is your mind right now, past, future, or present? It's a question that might feel simple, but the answer reveals so much about how we experience life. This is the essence of the 16th Stoic principle, Cultivate Presence. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes from fully engaging with the present moment, rather than being pulled into regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most reflective thinkers, wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it." His words remind us that time isn't just something we measure in hours or years, it's something we live moment by moment. Presence isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a practical tool for reducing stress and enhancing clarity. When we're fully present, we're able to see situations as they are, rather than through the lens of worry or distraction. Think about it. How often do we miss the beauty of a moment because we're too busy replaying yesterday's mistakes or planning tomorrow's to-do list? The Stoics taught that by anchoring ourselves in the here and now, we can break free from the mental clutter that robs us of joy and peace. Presence isn't about ignoring the past or future. It's about giving your full attention to what's happening right now, where life is truly lived. Seneca's writings on time are particularly poignant. He observed, "We are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it." This insight challenges us to examine how we spend our days. Are we truly living, or are we merely existing, lost in thoughts that pull us away from the present? The Stoics believed that every moment is a gift, and by cultivating presence, we learn to appreciate that gift fully. It's not about adding more to your life, it's about being fully alive in what you already have. One of the most accessible ways to practice presence is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's as simple as focusing on your breath, savoring the taste of your morning coffee, or noticing the sensations of a walk in nature. These small acts of awareness can have a profound impact, helping you feel more grounded and connected to the world around you. For example, try setting aside 5 minutes to sit quietly and focus on your breathing. Notice how your mind wanders and gently bring it back to the present. Over time, this practice can help you develop a deeper sense of calm and clarity. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one activity you often rush through without fully experiencing? It could be something as simple as eating a meal, talking to a loved one, or even washing the dishes. What would it feel like to slow down and be fully present in that moment? By cultivating presence, you're not just improving your focus, you're enriching your entire experience of life. It's a reminder that the present moment is all we ever truly have, and by embracing it, we unlock a deeper sense of purpose and connection. Where will you choose to be fully present today? True wisdom begins with humility. It's the quiet acknowledgement that no matter how much we know, there's always more to learn. The 17th Stoic Principle invites us to embrace this mindset, practice humility. Humility isn't about downplaying your strengths or achievements. It's about recognizing your limitations and staying open to growth. The Stoics believed that humility is the gateway to true wisdom, as it allows us to learn from others, adapt to new ideas, and continually improve ourselves. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential teachers, put it simply: it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. In other words, humility is the foundation of all learning. At its core, humility is about perspective. It's understanding that no one has all the answers, and that every person we meet, whether they're a mentor, a peer, or even someone we disagree with, has something to teach us. This mindset not only fosters personal growth but also deepens our connections with others. When we approach life with humility, we create space for collaboration, empathy, and mutual respect. It's a reminder that wisdom isn't about standing above others, it's about walking beside them, learning as we go. Consider the story of Sir Isaac Newton, one of history's greatest scientists. Despite his monumental discoveries, he remained remarkably humble, famously saying, "If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." Newton understood that his achievements were built on the knowledge and work of those who came before him. His humility allowed him to see himself as part of a larger tradition of learning, rather than as an isolated genius. This attitude not only fueled his own growth, but also inspired generations of thinkers to build on his work. So, how can you practice humility in your own life? Start by reflecting on a recent mistake or challenge. What did it teach you? Humility often begins in moments of vulnerability, when we're willing to admit we don't have it all figured out. Maybe it was a misstep at work, a misunderstanding in a relationship, or a goal that didn't go as planned. Whatever it was, take a moment to consider what you learned from it. How did it change your perspective? How might it help you grow moving forward? Epictetus reminded us that no man is free who is not master of himself. Humility is a key part of that self-mastery. It's the willingness to acknowledge our imperfections and embrace the lessons they offer. By practicing humility, we not only become wiser but also more connected to ourselves, to others, and to the endless possibilities of growth. What's one lesson humility has taught you recently? What would you do if fear wasn't holding you back? It's a question that cuts straight to the heart of what it means to live with purpose. This is the essence of the 18th Stoic principle, act with courage. The Stoics believed that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to face it head-on. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." His words remind us that bravery isn't just about grand gestures or heroic acts, it's about showing up day after day, even when the path ahead feels uncertain or daunting. Courage is the bridge between intention and action. It's what allows us to move forward when fear tries to hold us back. Think about it. How often do we let fear dictate our choices, whether it's fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown? The Stoics taught that true purpose isn't found in playing it safe, but in stepping into the discomfort of growth. When we act with courage, we not only overcome obstacles, but also discover strengths we never knew we had. It's not about being fearless, it's about being brave enough to act in spite of fear. Seneca's writings on courage are particularly powerful. He observed, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. This insight challenges us to see fear not as something to avoid, but as an opportunity to grow. Every time we face a fear, we build mental resilience, just as physical exercise strengthens our muscles. Courage, then, isn't just a virtue, it's a practice. It's the daily choice to lean into challenges, knowing that each step forward makes us stronger. Let's bring this to life with a modern example. Imagine you're at work and you see a colleague being treated unfairly. Speaking up might feel risky. You could face backlash or even jeopardize your own position. But staying silent would mean compromising your values. In that moment, courage calls you to act even when it's uncomfortable. It's not about being reckless, it's about standing up for what's right even when it's hard. This is the kind of bravery that transforms not only our own lives but also the world around us. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one fear that's been holding you back? Maybe it's fear of failure in pursuing a new goal, fear of rejection in a relationship, or even fear of stepping outside your comfort zone in a small but meaningful way. Whatever it is, identify one step you can take this week to confront it. It doesn't have to be a monumental act. It could be as simple as having a difficult conversation or trying something new. The key is to take action, no matter how small, and build momentum from there. Courage isn't about waiting for fear to disappear. It's about moving forward even when it's there. As Seneca wisely noted, brave men rejoice in adversity, just as brave soldiers triumph in war. By embracing courage, you not only unlock new possibilities, but also deepen your sense of purpose. What's one fear you can face this week to take a step closer to the life you want to live? You can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. This simple truth lies at the heart of the 19th Stoic principle, value time above all. The Stoics understood that time is the one resource we can never replenish, and how we choose to spend it defines the quality of our lives. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most profound thinkers, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." His words remind us that life's brevity isn't the problem, it's how often we squander its moments without realizing their worth. Time is the thread that weaves every aspect of our lives together. Unlike money, possessions, or even relationships, time is irreplaceable. Once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. This realization can feel daunting, but it's also incredibly empowering. When we truly grasp the value of time, we begin to make choices that align with our deepest priorities. It's not about filling every second with productivity or achievement. It's about ensuring that how we spend our time reflects what matters most to us. For the Stoics, living purposefully meant using time not just efficiently, but meaningfully. Seneca's letters are filled with insights on the fleeting nature of time. He observed, "Life is long if you know how to use it." This statement challenges us to rethink how we approach our days. Are we merely passing time, or are we actively shaping it into something meaningful? The Stoics believed that every moment is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to connect, to create. By valuing time, we shift from passively living to actively engaging with life, turning fleeting moments into lasting impact. So, how can we put this principle into practice today? One effective tool is time blocking, a method where you allocate specific chunks of time to focused tasks or activities. This approach helps you prioritize what's important, rather than letting distractions dictate your day. Another strategy is setting boundaries, saying no to commitments that drain your time and energy, so you can say yes to what truly aligns with your values. These modern techniques echo the Stoic call to live intentionally, ensuring that your time is spent on what matters most. Now, take a moment to reflect. How did you spend your last 24 hours? Were your choices aligned with your priorities, or did distractions and obligations pull you away from what you value? This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. By reflecting on how you use your time, you can identify patterns and make adjustments that bring you closer to living with purpose. Time is the currency of life, and how we spend it defines the legacy we leave behind. By valuing it above all else, we not only honor the present moment but also create a future filled with meaning and fulfillment. What will you choose to do with the time you have? How can you show more compassion today? It's a simple question, but one that holds the power to transform not only your relationships but also your own sense of inner peace. This is the heart of the 20th Stoic principle: practice compassion. The Stoics believed that kindness and understanding, both toward others and ourselves, are essential for living a meaningful life. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." His words remind us that we're all interconnected, and by extending compassion to others, we nurture our own well-being in the process. Compassion isn't just about feeling sympathy, it's about taking action. It's the willingness to see the world through someone else's eyes, to meet their struggles with understanding rather than judgment. For the Stoics, this wasn't just a moral duty, it was a path to inner harmony. When we approach others with empathy, we dissolve the barriers that separate us, creating deeper connections and a greater sense of belonging. But compassion doesn't stop at others, it also includes self-compassion. Too often, we're our own harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards. Practicing self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a friend, recognizing that imperfection is part of being human. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of empathy in his writings. He said, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." At first glance, this might sound cynical, but it's actually a profound exercise in compassion. By acknowledging the flaws in others, we prepare ourselves to meet them with understanding rather than frustration. This mindset doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it helps us respond with patience and grace rather than anger or resentment. It's a reminder that everyone is fighting their own battles, even if we can't see them. Consider the story of a teacher who transformed her classroom by practicing compassion. Frustrated by her students' lack of engagement, she decided to shift her approach. Instead of focusing on discipline, she began to ask questions. What challenges were they facing outside of school? What fears or insecurities might be holding them back? By showing genuine interest in their lives, she created an environment of trust and mutual respect. Over time, her students became more engaged, not because they were forced to, but because they felt seen and valued. This small act of compassion rippled outward, creating a space where everyone could thrive. Now, take a moment to reflect. Who is one person in your life who could use more kindness or understanding? It might be a colleague, a family member, or even yourself. What's one small way you can show compassion today, whether it's offering a listening ear, extending forgiveness, or simply acknowledging someone's efforts? Compassion doesn't require grand gestures. It's often the small, consistent acts of kindness that make the biggest difference. By practicing compassion, we not only uplift others, but also cultivate a deeper sense of connection and peace within ourselves. It's a reminder that we're all part of the same hive, and by nurturing others, we nurture ourselves. Who will you choose to show compassion to today? A purposeful life is built one intentional choice at a time. This simple truth lies at the heart of the 21st Stoic principle, live with intention. The Stoics believed that every action, no matter how small, should align with your long-term goals and deepest values. It's not enough to drift through life, reacting to circumstances or following the path of least resistance. True purpose comes from making deliberate choices moment by moment that reflect who you are and who you aspire to be. As Epictetus wisely noted, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. His words remind us that intention is the bridge between vision and action. Living with intention means creating clarity in a world full of distractions. It's about asking yourself, why am I doing this, before you act, ensuring that your choices align with your larger purpose. Think of it like steering a ship. Without a clear destination, you'll drift aimlessly at the mercy of the winds and currents. But with a destination in mind, every adjustment of the sails brings you closer to where you want to go. Intention gives you that destination, a guiding star to navigate by, even when the waters are rough. Epictetus often emphasized the importance of deliberate action. No great thing is created suddenly, he said, reminding us that meaningful achievements are the result of consistent, intentional effort. This principle isn't about grand gestures or sweeping changes. It's about the small, daily decisions that shape your life. Whether it's choosing to spend quality time with loved ones, dedicating an hour to a passion project, or simply pausing to reflect before reacting, each intentional act builds the foundation of a purposeful life. So, how can you put this into practice today? One powerful tool is setting daily intentions. Before you begin your day, take a moment to ask yourself, what do I want to focus on today? What actions will bring me closer to my goals and values? Write down one intention, whether it's to approach a challenge with patience, prioritize self-care, or connect deeply with someone you care about. This simple practice shifts your mindset from passive to proactive, helping you stay aligned with what truly matters. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one intention you can set for today? How might aligning your actions with your values change the way you experience this day? By living with intention, you transform ordinary moments into opportunities for growth and fulfillment. It's a reminder that every choice, no matter how small, has the power to shape your life. What will you choose to focus on today? What would you do if you weren't afraid of failing? This question cuts to the heart of the 22nd Stoic principle, practice detachment from outcomes. The Stoics believed that true peace and resilience come not from controlling results, but from focusing wholeheartedly on your effort. It's a radical shift in mindset, one that frees us from the anxiety of what if and allows us to act with clarity and purpose. As Seneca wisely observed, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. His words remind us that much of our fear and stress stems not from the outcomes themselves, but from our fixation on them. Detachment doesn't mean indifference or apathy. It's about redirecting your energy from the uncontrollable, the results, to what you can control, your actions, your attitude, and your commitment to the process. Think about it. How often do we hold ourselves back because we're afraid of failing or being judged? The Stoics taught that by letting go of attachment to outcomes, we liberate ourselves to take bold, meaningful steps forward. It's not about guaranteeing success, it's about embracing the journey regardless of where it leads. Seneca's writings on uncertainty offer profound insight. He noted, "The wise man is neither raised up by prosperity nor cast down by adversity." This idea challenges us to find stability not in external outcomes but in our own efforts and values. When we detach from results, we're no longer at the mercy of life's ups and downs. Instead, we cultivate a steady inner resilience that allows us to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear. It's a mindset that transforms fear into freedom and effort into its own reward. Take the story of Thomas Edison, for example. When asked about the thousands of failed attempts before inventing the light bulb, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." What set Edison apart wasn't just his persistence, but his ability to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Each failure was simply a step toward discovery, a lesson learned rather than a setback endured. By detaching from the need for immediate success, he was able to persevere where others might have given up. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one goal or project you've been hesitant to pursue because you're afraid of failing? Maybe it's starting a new business, learning a skill, or even having a difficult conversation. What would it feel like to approach it with detachment, to focus on the effort rather than the outcome? By shifting your mindset, you'll not only reduce anxiety, but also open yourself up to new possibilities and growth. Detachment from outcomes isn't about giving up on success, it's about redefining it. It's about finding fulfillment in the act of trying rather than the end result. By embracing this principle, you'll discover a deeper sense of peace and resilience, no matter what life throws your way. What's one step you can take today, free from the fear of failure? Great things take time, patience is the key. This timeless truth lies at the heart of the 23rd Stoic principle, Cultivate Patience. The Stoics understood that life is filled with delays, setbacks, and moments of waiting, and how we respond to these challenges defines our resilience and long-term success. Patience isn't just about waiting passively, it's about enduring with calm and persistence, trusting that the process itself holds value, even when the results aren't immediate. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. His words remind us that obstacles aren't just hurdles to overcome, they're opportunities to strengthen our patience and deepen our resolve. Patience fosters resilience by teaching us to stay grounded in the face of uncertainty. Think about it. How often do we rush through life, chasing immediate results and growing frustrated when things don't go as planned? The Stoics believed that true growth comes from embracing the journey, not just the destination. When we cultivate patience, we shift our focus from the uncontrollable, like how long something takes, to what we can control, our attitude, our effort, and our ability to stay steady in the process. This mindset doesn't just help us endure challenges, it transforms them into stepping stones for growth. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the importance of patience in his writings. He observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This insight is particularly relevant when it comes to patience. We can't control how quickly circumstances change or how others respond, but we can control how we approach the waiting. By staying calm and focused, we not only reduce stress but also create space for clarity and creativity to emerge. Patience, then, isn't just a virtue, it's a practice of inner strength. Consider the process of learning a new skill, like playing an instrument or mastering a language. At first, progress feels slow and mistakes are frequent. It's easy to grow frustrated and want to give up. But those who stick with it, who embrace the slow and often tedious process of improvement, are the ones who ultimately succeed. They understand that mastery isn't about instant results, it's about consistent effort over time. This modern example mirrors the Stoic call to cultivate patience, to trust the process and find value in the journey, not just the outcome. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by identifying one area where you've been feeling impatient. Maybe it's a career goal that's taking longer than expected, a relationship that's evolving slowly, or even a personal project that feels stuck. Instead of focusing on the delay, ask yourself, what can I learn from this waiting period? How can I use this time to grow or prepare for what's next? By shifting your perspective, you transform impatience into an opportunity for growth and reflection. Cultivating patience isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. It's about actively engaging with the process, even when it's slow or uncertain. It's a reminder that great things don't happen overnight, but with steady effort and a calm mind, they do happen. What's one area of your life where you can embrace patience today? By doing so, you'll not only build resilience, but also discover the quiet strength that comes from enduring with purpose. What's one thing you can do today to become better? It's a simple question, but one that holds the key to a life of purpose and fulfillment. This is the heart of the 24th Stoic principle: seek continuous improvement. The Stoics believed that growth isn't a one-time event or a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most practical teachers, put it this way: no great thing is created suddenly. His words remind us that greatness, whether in character or achievement, is the result of small, consistent efforts over time. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Continuous improvement aligns perfectly with Stoic philosophy because it emphasizes what's within our control: our effort, our attitude, and our commitment to learning. The Stoics taught that true wisdom comes from recognizing our limitations and striving to overcome them. It's not about comparing ourselves to others or chasing external validation. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves, one step at a time. This mindset transforms every challenge into an opportunity to grow, every failure into a lesson, and every day into a chance to improve. Consider the story of Leonardo da Vinci, one of history's greatest polymaths. His genius wasn't the result of innate talent alone. It was fueled by an insatiable curiosity and an unwavering commitment to learning. Even in his later years, Da Vinci filled notebooks with sketches, observations, and ideas, constantly seeking to expand his knowledge and skills. His relentless pursuit of improvement wasn't just about achieving success. It was about embracing the joy of discovery and the satisfaction of growth. This is the essence of continuous improvement, a lifelong dedication to learning, evolving, and becoming. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? Start by identifying one area where you'd like to grow. It could be a skill you've always wanted to master, a habit you'd like to build, or even a mindset you'd like to shift. Then take one small step today toward that goal. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book, practicing a new technique, or reflecting on a recent experience to identify lessons learned. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection, and to embrace the process as much as the outcome. Epictetus often reminded his students, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This simple yet powerful guidance invites us to define our vision for growth and then take deliberate action to make it real. By committing to continuous improvement, you're not just building skills, you're cultivating a mindset of resilience, curiosity, and purpose. Every effort, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you aspire to be. Now take a moment to reflect. What's one area of your life where you can seek improvement today? How might taking a small step toward growth change the way you see yourself and your potential? By embracing the journey of continuous improvement, you'll discover that the pursuit of progress is its own reward, a path that leads not just to achievement, but to a deeper sense of fulfillment. What will you choose to work on today? A purposeful life is one that leaves a positive mark. This is the essence of the 25th and final Stoic principle: leave a legacy. The Stoics believed that our actions ripple outward, shaping not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us and the world we inhabit. Legacy isn't about grand, sweeping gestures or monumental achievement. It's about the small, intentional choices we make every day that add up to something greater. As Seneca wisely noted, what we leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. His words remind us that a meaningful legacy is built not through fame or fortune, but through the impact we have on others. Legacy thinking aligns deeply with Stoic values because it shifts our focus from what we get to what we give. The Stoics taught that true fulfillment comes from contributing to the well-being of others and the greater good. It's about recognizing that we're part of something larger than ourselves and that our actions, no matter how small, can create a lasting positive influence. This mindset doesn't just enrich the lives of others, it also brings a profound sense of purpose and connection to our own lives. By thinking beyond ourselves, we tap into a deeper source of meaning and fulfillment. Seneca's writings on legacy are particularly insightful. He observed, "Life is long if you know how to use it." This statement challenges us to consider how we're using our time and energy. Are we focused solely on personal gain, or are we investing in something that will outlast us? The Stoics believed that the true measure of a life well lived isn't what we accumulate, but what we contribute. Whether it's through kindness, mentorship, or service, every act of generosity has the potential to leave a lasting impact. So, how can you apply this principle in your own life? One powerful way is through mentoring. Sharing your knowledge and experience with others not only helps them grow, but also creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your immediate circle. Volunteering is another meaningful way to leave a legacy. Whether it's dedicating time to a local charity, supporting a cause you're passionate about, or simply helping a neighbor in need, these acts of service create a positive imprint on the world. Even small, everyday gestures like offering encouragement, listening deeply, or showing compassion can leave a lasting mark. Now take a moment to reflect. How do you want to be remembered? What kind of impact do you want to have on the people and world around you? This isn't about crafting a perfect legacy. It's about living in a way that aligns with your values and contributes to something greater. By focusing on the mark you want to leave, you'll find that your actions become more intentional, your choices more meaningful, and your life more purposeful. Leaving a legacy isn't about achieving perfection, it's about living with intention and care. It's a reminder that our time here is limited, but the impact we make can endure long after we're gone. What will your legacy be? By embracing this final Stoic principle, you'll not only enrich your own life, but also create a brighter, more connected world for those who follow. These 25 Stoic principles aren't just ancient wisdom. They're timeless tools for crafting a life of purpose and resilience. From focusing on what you can control to cultivating patience, practicing gratitude, and leaving a meaningful legacy, each principle offers a practical way to navigate modern challenges with clarity and intention. Together, they form a roadmap for living not just a good life, but a meaningful one grounded in virtue, growth, and connection. Stoicism teaches us that life's difficulties aren't obstacles to avoid, but opportunities to grow. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful idea reminds us that every challenge, every setback, and every moment of uncertainty is a chance to strengthen our character and deepen our sense of purpose. By embracing these principles, we learn to approach life not as something that happens to us, but as something we actively shape with our choices and actions. Now it's your turn. Which of these principles resonates most with you? Is it the call to focus on what you can control, the reminder to practice gratitude daily, or perhaps the challenge to act with courage even when fear tries to hold you back? Take a moment to reflect on how you can apply these ideas in your own life. Start small, choose one principle to focus on this week, and see how it transforms your perspective and actions. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of living. It's about finding strength in adversity, joy in simplicity, and meaning in service. By integrating these principles into your daily life, you'll not only build resilience but also create a life that feels deeply purposeful and aligned with your values. If this journey through Stoic wisdom has inspired you, don't stop here. Subscribe for more insights and practical tools to help you live with clarity and purpose. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. What principle will you start applying today? Together, let's continue this conversation and build a community grounded in growth, resilience, and purpose. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoicism. Here's to living a life of intention.